Hey, another day at the Riverwalk. It's been raining, it's kind of humid. And something recently I've been seeing is the increasing popularity of dumb phones. And dumb phones, basically, they're only good for telephone calls and texting. And people are opting toward these days because they sense that they've been hacked. So, as we know, these social media companies and the phone manufacturers and everything else, they want you to be using it all the time, checking it all the time, and so on. And apparently it's having an extremely negative effect on people's lives and their brains physically. So what's happening is the way the brain is wired is changing. It's getting rewired. And physically, some areas are getting larger and some areas are getting smaller. So it's very weird to contemplate. But when it comes to technology, people can praise it all day long, which is ridiculous. But what it comes down to is profit. So when you take something like AI, robotics, things like that, and you may or may not be aware of exactly how far things are going with robots these days, but basically they have humanoid looking robots that can talk, in a sort of a trendy accent and do things, all kinds of stuff. And basically a lot of people are worried about the path of AI because all sorts of potential scenarios that it goes crazy, takes off on its own, creates its own model, deems human beings obsolete, destroys them, things like that. Of course, no one knows what's going to happen. But what I would point out about all this, and the threats are very real, but it's all driven by profit, by money. So these companies, it's like an ant farm or an ant hill, The ant hill is growing, it's increasing in size, all the little ants are doing their job. They're not necessarily aware of the larger goal, they're just trying to, survive. And apparently there was some tech company meeting a while ago where all these people who are working on, new phases of technology, they were asked to raise their hands if they wanted to live in the world they were creating, and none of them did. So it's rather telling right there. So anyway, it's nice that some people are waking up and they're turning their backs on this stuff. I'd like to get a dumb phone myself, as a matter of fact. Not that I overuse this one, I don't check it when I wake up and all that stuff. But anyway, you want to be available to, family members and things like that in case of emergencies and so on. So now another model to contemplate, I think, is, and I didn't create this idea or invent it, but I'm not sure who did, maybe it was Walt Disney, but the idea was to have a city where, the area you're in now is the present. You walk 5 blocks this way, you go back 10 years. And everything is different. The cars are different, the structures are different, the media, everything, clothing. And then you go back, as you keep walking, you essentially go back in time, and these separated areas are basically like museums to the past. So, potentially, I don't know if there's probably enough space to go all the way back, before the Greeks and Romans and things like that. But once you got back to the Aboriginal time period, nothing would ever need to change. That would be the idyllic Garden of Eden existence. So anyway, this idea of having these different phases, these different areas, the question is, if you were there, would you prefer to go back to, say, an era of silent films and horse-drawn carriages and, you know, marketplaces and things like that, or even earlier. And you might think that no, you know, I'm perfectly happy right here. But I think a lot of people would actually prefer to cast aside a lot of these technological, you know, improvements that we have been sold. And there again, that's the whole thing. It has to do with being sold. So everything, when it comes down to money, it's all about value. And so that's why we're on this path, because of value, you know. I had an idea for a science fiction story. And, you know, you hear about people saying that, oh, you know, these asteroids out there, they're loaded with valuable metals, uranium and gold or whatever, and things like that. And one asteroid is worth $18 billion, you know? And it's like, I think that's a good science fiction story. That some entrepreneur flies out into space to get one of these gigantic, valuable resources, these asteroids, bring it back to Earth and sell it. And, hey.
Have a good one.
You too. And so anyway, when he gets the asteroid, you know, and ties a rope around it or something, he's pulling it back to Earth. And when he gets back, the Earth has been destroyed. There's nothing there. Oh crap. Well, what's the asteroid worth now? Nothing, of course. So anyway, where we are now with this money problem, money is the root of all evil. It's the cause of all the problems. And it's getting more and more ridiculous where, you know, the connection with money to the phones, where it's like, oh, you can't do this and that unless you can scan a QR code on your phone. You can't look at a menu in a restaurant. You can't buy something here or there, all these different things. So anyway, it's leading on a path that is very crazy. And when you tie A in with all that, AI, well, is it looking at things as resources? Is it money driven or what? Who knows? Who knows where that's going to go? But it can look at, say, for example, our pathway and create anything, you know, crazy thing that it potentially wants to, and you basically become obsolete. So anyway, I had somewhere else I was going with this, but I don't care. So I'll leave it there. Bye. Okay, I did remember the last little bit, and that was basically AI being used to hack our biology. So it's already been used, you know, technology is already being used to hack our brains. And so now, you know, these corporate medical industries are hacking our DNA with all these vaccines and things. And what's next? So if and it's altering people's DNA also. So what happens if the DNA gets hacked by artificial intelligence, you know, and it decides it has a better physical body for us, you know, that doesn't rely on resources or something or whatever. And it's like, wow, okay, we all wind up looking like gray aliens, you know, synthetic bodies that live on some sort of energy, not food or anything like that. And I think I've said it before, but some people theorize that the gray aliens are actually coming here from the future. They are a future version of ourselves, and that they're coming to rescue DNA before its corruption, the corruption of it that happened. So anyway, what are you going to do about it? Well, there are things we can certainly do about it. And you might get called a Luddite, you know, for being against progress and technology and all the wonderful things. It's like, no, that's basically propaganda, you know. It's so simple because money first, people last. That's the way it's played out. And anyway, us You know, we may or may not live to see, you know, this weird future. I mean, it's going to be weird. Everything's weird, right? Present, past, everything. So anyway, that was it. Bye.